The way you draw in Flash could be something that's hard to get used to because there's actually two different drawing models that Flash uses. There's Object Drawing Model, which combines the stroke and the fill into one object. And then there's the Merge Drawing Model, which takes two objects and will merge them together, and they will affect each other. Let's see how these two things work. I'll go ahead and create a new layer called Object Drawing. And I will grab a drawing tool and change my fill color to a light blue and my stroke color to a dark blue. And down here in the tools bar, you can see that Object Drawing has been pressed. That means that I am drawing in Object Drawing mode. I'll go ahead and draw this out. And let's go ahead and make the stroke a little bit bigger so you can see it. And you'll notice that when I grab the Move tool and select that object, there's a little blue square all the way around it. And that's an indicator to you that this object was drawn in Object Drawing mode. The good thing about this mode is that it's something that you're probably used to if you've ever drawn in shape in, let's say, something like Microsoft Word. What it does is it keeps the stroke and the fill together in one group. That means when I click off of it, and then when I click to move it somewhere else, the stroke and the fill are going to move together as a group. Let's go ahead and see what the difference is with Merge Drawing mode. I'll go ahead and create a new layer and call this Merge Drawing. And I'll lock that Object Drawing layer so I don't interfere with it. And I'll grab a shape, and this time I'll do, let's say, a warm color. Okay, so from here, I can draw a new shape. Oops, and see, I forget every time. So I'll get out of Object Drawing mode by unpressing this button. And now I'll draw it out. And hopefully you can see the difference. Now when I select, I can select the fill by itself, and it looks different than when I clicked on this object, oops, which had a little blue circle. Now when I click here, it's filled with a pattern of dots. If I click on the stroke, it's also filled with a pattern of dots. And if I double click inside, both of them are filled with a pattern of dots. And now I can move both of them. But if I were to just select the fill and move it over, I can make those two things separate. In addition, if I were to move it over, let's say to this position here, and then click off so neither of them are selected, all of a sudden, we're seeing that they're starting to merge and they're affecting each other's shapes. So I can grab this again and move it, and now all of a sudden that outside stroke has been affected, and the place where it overlapped, that part of the stroke has been deleted. So this can get kind of irritating if you accidentally are drawing in Merge Drawing mode and you do something like you just move it off because you wanted to move it over there to make space for whatever you're doing here, and then all of a sudden it ate away at whatever you were drawing over here. But Merge Drawing mode can be really helpful. For instance, if I were going to draw a tree, I would probably do the tree top in Merge Drawing mode. So let me show you how that works. I'll go ahead and change my stroke to none and my fill color to green, and grab the circle tool, and I'll just start drawing a bunch of ovals to create my treetop. And when I stop creating all these ovals, you'll see that this has now become one merged shape. I didn't have to use the pen tool. I didn't have to do any kind of complex drawing with the paintbrush or the pencil tool. I now have my tree top. They're all merged together. And I can change this. I can rotate it and I can transform it. So I can rotate it this way and I can do all kinds of different stuff to it. I can make it a little bit bigger. And let me just change it back that way. But again, the problem is if I were to move this over on accident to something that was already drawn in Merge Drawing mode and then moved it over, see how it interferes? So that's kind of tricky. I might want to put that treetop on its own layer and then lock it. And once you do that, it's not going to interfere or merge with anything else. Now for Object Drawing mode, I might want to make a tree trunk in Object Drawing mode because I don't want it to become a permanent part of this treetop, because I might want to actually use that trunk on a bunch of different trees. Let's say I'm drawing a forest. So for this one, I'll go ahead and grab my paintbrush tool and I'll turn it to a brown color. And from here, I'll do object drawing and I'll go ahead and paint out. And this is not a fancy tree trunk. So I'll go ahead and paint something out. Okay. So I can fill that with color. And if I needed to, I can cut this and come back to this layer and do edit paste in place. And because that layer is underneath the merge drawing layer, now it looks like it's underneath that tree, but it never interferes with it. So if I want to move this tree top, it didn't cut away from that trunk. So I can reuse that trunk. So I'll copy it and paste it. Oops. I'll copy it and paste it. And now with that one, I can flip it, I can transform it, I can make it tall, I can make it skinny. I can do whatever I need to do to make my forest of trees. So I'll go ahead and make this a little bit darker brown. And that way it's not going to interfere anytime it touches these other trees. So you'll just have to decide which mode you like working in the best. I tend to use object drawing mode a lot, but there are some instances where I find value in using the merge drawing mode. So get comfortable with using both of those. And what I want you to leave this tutorial video with is make sure that whenever you grab a drawing tool, that the first thing you think about is, are you in object drawing mode or are you in merge mode? Because if you're in merge mode, you're going to get irritated when you start drawing stuff and they start interfering and you didn't mean for that to happen. Now, just on another note, if I wanted to change anything about this, if I wanted to in fact move the fill away from the stroke from an object drawing mode, I can double click inside of it and now you can see I'm inside of the drawing object. And the drawing object is really just a group of the stroke and the fill. So inside it's actually a merged object. So I can do the same thing with that. And let me go ahead and undo that. And if I wanted to create something, let's say I made this in object drawing mode and I wanted it to be in merge drawing mode, I can grab that object, go to modify and choose break apart. And that's going to break it up into the stroke being separate from the fill, and then you can do merge drawing mode.